Council Glenn with EFSN, and guess what? We're back. We're going to talk to you today about the Super Bowl coming up on February 11th. I couldn't do it by myself, so I brought the gang with me. I want to introduce you to my co-panelists.
I'm Chris Crowley, a.k.a. The Great Debater. Let's get it.
I'm D. Johnson, a.k.a. The OG.
I'm Joshua Edwards, a.k.a. The Youngest, but I got knowledge.
Man, I miss these guys. First, we want to talk about the NFC Championship game recap. All right, number one question. Did the Lions choke?
I can start it off. No, the Lions did not choke. Okay, now I don't know what these other old heads are going to say, but no, the Lions did not choke this game away. If you look at it, they was leading 24-10, but I don't think that that's the reason why they choked. Dan Campbell, he's been doing the same exact, play calling, going for it on fourth down. I do like the decision early on to go for that 4th and 3 when you're up 24-10, trying to put the game out of reach. So I do like that. But once you get to the point of the game where you're down 27-24, I do believe that they should have took the 3. But I don't believe that they choked this game away. I just think that the 49ers just made all the right plays at the right time when it mattered the most.
Finally, I think this is the first that one time that me and the youngster actually agree on
Wow.
something. I don't feel like that the Lions choked away the game either. Going back to what my young co-panelist was saying, if you look at it, Goff, his numbers, and Purdy's numbers were comparable. Montgomery's rushing versus the rushing of CMC was comparable. Both teams had one turnover. The Lions had the interception, and the 49ers had the fumble. Mm-hmm. Each one of the quarterbacks got sacked twice. So what was the difference? The difference was that vaulted 49ers defense. Yeah. They made adjustments in the second half when they needed to make adjustments, and they showed what they were made of. So when you go back and you look at it and you say that the total yardage in the first half, the 49ers had 131, the Lions had 280. And then in the second half, it was a reversal. The Lions 162, 49ers 282. The defense stood up and showed what they were about.
I'm going to disagree with you guys. Matter of fact, what's the Heimlich maneuver in that right here? I was looking for someone to come out and give the Lions a Heimlich. They were choking right before my eyes in that third quarter. You were up 17 points, and in a matter of, 8 minutes, it was over. The whole league was evaporated. And, yes, I get the stats being even, but that doesn't tell me the story of this game. The Lions came out on fire, and I felt like when the second half started, they allowed the 49ers to just drive down the field and score. But then I think they had either the turnover or they went for it on fourth down, and they didn't get it. And the Lions scored again quickly, and then it was either the vice versa of that, and then they scored again. The Lions choked this game away. Y'all, I don't know any other way to say it. I mean, I watched that, and I'm like, dude, are y'all really going to give this game away to the 49ers? They did nothing that they did in the first half to me that made the game successful for them. So, I mean, I got to say it, man. It was Heimlich maneuver time right around third quarter.
Yeah, they definitely choked, man. They were dropping passes. They just weren't themselves in the second half. To not score any points, they choked. And again, I'm not necessarily even down on the fourth down calls to not kick the field goals. My thing is some of those players were just dropping balls, man. Jared Goff played an excellent game. The thing about the Detroit Lions, their best defense sometimes is their offense. And the fact that they couldn't stay on the field or cash in drives in the second half cost them the game. I don't necessarily put all the blame on the coach for the 2 fourth down calls, but I do think they choked.
Well, I'm going to ask something to you. Is it that the Lions choked, or was that the 49ers better? So how about this? So how about Debo forced 6 missed tackles as a receiver and 2 as a runner? CMC forced 3 missed tackles as a runner. There's only been 5 instances this season where a wide receiver has forced more than 6 tackles, and another one of them also belongs to Debo. At the end of the day, they were just better.
I don't think they were better. Well, okay, I can see where you get that from.
I mean, he been making people miss tackles all year, right?
All year.
So is CMC.
Them boys was missing.
Yeah, and
They were making business decisions out there. But some of those tackles extended the drives.
Yeah, which goes to my point where I think that the playmakers for those 49ers they stepped up. Even like with CJ Gardner-Johnson is one of their best tacklers. Yeah. CJ Gardner-Johnson and Cameron Sutton both missed 3 tackles apiece. When in a game of this magnitude, that can't happen. But you ain't playing against those same players that you played against. Debo's special, CMC is special. 2 of the top players at their position in the league.
All right. Well, let me just say this. So, when you're talking about an NFC Championship game, when you're up 24-10, 24 points should be more than enough to win an NFL caliber game. We just saw the instance where it was the Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens, 17-10. 17 points was more than enough to win you the game. So when you're up 24-10, you have been balling the entire first half. At this point, it's got to be the coaching. I mean, go back to what you was doing the first quarter, shutting down the 49ers, taking away the running game. Like we already knew Dan Campbell was an aggressive coach. I'm not mad with the first decision to go for it on that fourth down when you're up 24-10. But when you're down 27,
You got to take that field goal.
you got to take the field goal to tie it up because of the way that the momentum was going throughout the game. So that's where I believe I don't think it's a choke job. I just think that 24 points is more than enough to get the game done. Your coaching staff has to be better. That's just me personally.
It ain't more than enough when the other team score 27. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah, that too.
But my thing was, and the reason why I think it was a choke is you literally can see the momentum shift. Mm-hmm. And I told my wife, and she got tired of me saying, I said, the momentum gone, it's over.
Yeah.
And so when they scored that 14 straight, I said, no, the crowd was rocking.
They had 27 unanswered points.
Yeah. When you see that happen from the sideline in less than a half, they demoralized them.
Yeah, it is.
They did.
All right, so staying on the NFC Championship game, did Brock Purdy silence the critics?
No. Brock Purdy didn't silence the critics. So let's go back to Brock Purdy because I've heard all of this stuff about him all season. So we're going to go back a few games because you can't just do it off of one game. Let's go back a couple of games. So him against Green Bay, 23 of 39, 252, a touchdown, QBR 86. Against Washington, 22 of 28, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, QBR 124. But 230 yards? Really? That's not getting it done. Against Baltimore, I mean, he had 4 picks against Baltimore. QBR of 42.
Yes.
So none of these numbers are elite. So when you talk about him doing it for you, he ain't do it for me.
Got it. Josh, what you think?
Okay, so I believe that he has silenced the critics. Like this wasn't the first game.
We still talking about him right now.
This is not the first game where he came back and won. If I'm not mistaken, they played the Green Bay Packers, correct? They was down in that game. Kyle Shanahan, whether him being an OC, a head coach, he has never came back from that position of where they were at in Green Bay, and they came back and won the game. Okay, now you fast forward a week later, they're down 24-10. For the same way that me and you just agreed about the Lions didn't choke, Brock Purdy took that game and he did what he needed to do. Obviously, it was a great play calling, getting the playmakers the ball, distributing the ball, but we didn't really see him, put the ball in harm's way maybe once or twice. And let's not forget the highlight reel that he had where he was about to get sacked, scrambles out to his left, throws a dart on the sideline to Kyle Juszczyk for the first down to continue to move the sticks. Come on, man. This dude is silences the critics.
But does that silence the critics?
No.
Yes.
We missing the highlight where the ball bounced off a man's helmet and he caught the 50-yard pass.
Well,
that was another interception he should have had, man.
Literally, the guy should have thrown 3 picks, and I'm talking about in-hand picks.
And that's just this game because Green Bay dropped 3 themselves.
Yes.
But go ahead. I digress. Go ahead.
And let me say this, man. He's a game manager. You just described it. Someone whose job is not to turn the ball over and not to lose the game and just get it to the playmakers and let the playmakers make the plays.
All the missed tackles we talked about.
All of those missed tackles we talking about, these are elite playmakers. And let me say this about
Yak.
the 49ers. This is the same thing I heard a few years back with James Garoppolo. Jimmy, y'all call him Jimmy. I'm going to call him James. Mama call him James. I'm going to call him James. He led them to the NFC championship game. People was raving about him. I didn't see it with him on the field. He's distributing the ball to elite playmakers, and he didn't even have CMC. Purdy has Christian McCaffrey, who's the best running back in the game.
Hands down.
You get him the ball, it's a lot for the defense to have to try to cover. All he does is, I'm gonna throw it to this guy. I'm gonna let Debo run. You know the little pass that he throws where he just tips the ball to Debo and let him go 60 yards.
The best Swiss Army knife in the game.
Yes, he's basically a running back. He's a wide receiver, but he's in a running back's body. You can't bring him down.
First real question:
Yes.
Is Brock Purdy better than Jordan Love?
That's a good question. I don't think from a talent standpoint that he's
No, he's
better
not
than
as
Jordan Love. But I got to go back to what they was talking about. We're acting like game managing is a bad thing. Like
No,
it has
you playing
a
your
negative
role.
connotation to it.
You're playing a role,
No,
but
no. I agree. It doesn't
he's
have a
playing his
negative
role.
connotation. But the question was, has he silenced the critics?
Absolutely.
He has not, because that's why we still talking about it.
Absolutely.
We're debating it literally right now.
Hey, look.
literally the best play of if the best play of the game is you having a mishap that end up the other guy makes a play on it, throwing the ball into the other guy's hand and hits
Bouncing
off
off
his
his face, man.
and your receiver dives. I'll digress. I can't give him.
Well,
like he's that
I
guy.
think that a lot goes into it, and a lot says about him as a quarterback, him as a leader, to come back from down 24-10, to come back and finish the game against Green Bay. That says a lot about who he is and what he has done. And this is why context matters, ladies and gentlemen. They did not tell you that he was the last pick in an NFL draft.
Oh, I love the story. The story is
anytime that a Mr. Irrelevant is able to come back down 24-10, he's able to push his team back to the Super Bowl. If we're being honest, he's better than Jimmy G, okay? We can all agree to that, right?
That ain't saying a lot, but go ahead.
Yeah, that
Okay,
ain't-
all right.
Bottom of the
So
barrel.
I say that to say he has silenced his critics, and he's going to do it again come Super Bowl Sunday.
Listen, he got a great story. Somebody call Hallmark.
It's a great story.
But
Put it on the card.
he ain't silenced the critics, man.
So I'm gonna give Brock Purdy his credit for what I think that he does. I think that he has good decision-making skills.
Correct.
I think that he takes care of the ball, and I do think that he galvanizes the guys that play around him in managing Debo, CMC, Anuk, and Kerry Kittles. But that's a game manager. He has not silenced the critics. He is not elite. If you take him off and put him where Jordan Love is, does he do the same thing
Absolutely
with the Green
not.
Bay Packers
No, he doesn't.
that he's done with
He
the San
doesn't.
Francisco 49ers?
He doesn't.
just wanna
He
add-
doesn't.
Oh,
He
okay,
doesn't.
you got a mic. My bad.
I want to add this. The 49ers has the best supporting cast in the league.
Hands down.
Best.
Debo, Ayuk, CMC, Kittle. Name me anybody better that has a better group.
Nobody.
Better
The tight
group?
end, wide receiver, and running back position.
Don't do
And
it.
ain't no
wait
need
a
to
minute.
think. There's no
Tight
need to
end
think long.
And
Two
two wide
receivers.
receivers. Because Ayuk
Ayuk
is
is- he's legit.
He's a one anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean-
I don't have any.
Yeah,
I don't have a
that's
better
fair.
supporting cast.
We-
So
you got-
we haven't even went
No
on the
arguments.
defensive side of the ball to talk about that front four.
Yeah, or the linebackers.
Yeah.
The two best linebackers in the game.
Headhunters.
That's debatable.
To the AFC Championship game.
But between them and the Ravens.
Yes.
All right.
But the Ravens is out.
Yeah.
We'll get to that
Speaking
too.
of the Ravens,
We'll get to that.
Speaking of the Ravens, we're going to go and recap the AFC Championship game. All right, guys. I hate to say it because I already know the answer. Did Lamar choke?
No.
What?
Go ahead. Don't worry, I'm waiting for you. Go ahead.
Is a fat cat heavy, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. Lamar Jackson gagged this game away, all right? Now, this is why context matters, okay? He's a two-time MVP. We're going to assume that he's going to win the MVP this season. He's a two-time first-team All-Pro. One is a unanimous first-team All-Pro. Not only that, he's 2-4 in the postseason. what was the biggest narrative of Lamar Jackson coming into this postseason? He needs to get the job done. He does not have enough help. This is his best opportunity because the AFC is so, quote unquote, weak outside of, the Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in the postseason at this current moment. Mm-hmm. He gave this game away. The game was tied 7-7. And let's not forget that he had multiple opportunities to extend the drive. He throws the ball in a triple coverage where they're down 17 to 7 at the point. If he just holds on to the football, they kick a field goal at worst. You have the best kicker in NFL history, 17-10, and that way, you can continue to make the drives that he did. He was 20 of 37, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, one fumble from a 2-time MVP. Come on, man. He gagged this game away. I don't know what D is talking about.
Don't worry, I'm good to explain.
Okay.
Here we go.
So here we go. So I feel like this is where the Ravens fail. I feel like they failed at coaching, and let me tell you why. So when you look back over the numbers, I'm going to give you some numbers. You like stats. So this is why I feel like the last 4 games, they've gashed their opponent for 742 yards, an average of 5.2 yards a carry, and an average of 35.5 rushes a game. They had a whopping 16 rushes the whole game in that game. What got you to the playoff? What got them there, Josh? Running. Okay, so then you got 16 rushes. Out of those rushes for Lamar Jackson, he had half of them. He had 8. 3 of them were only design runs, and the other 5 were scrambles where the play broke down. So you can't put all of this on Lamar. What about your boy Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator? You're gonna have him doing design 7-step drops against this defense? Bro, you got to let the man cook. He got to run. 16 rushes when they normally rushing it 35 times. Bro, and 3 of them only designed. Come on, Josh. Now, you can't tell me that didn't play a part in this game.
I agree with him. I don't think Lamar choked. I think it was a failure on coaching.
One thing, 20 for 37, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble, 8 rushes for 54 yards, which is 6.8 yards a carry. And he only rushed it 8 times.
Yeah, he should have rushed it about 8 more times.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on real quick. That fumble out the end zone to touchback, that was a game changer, man. That was a drive killer. I don't think Lamar choked as much as the coaching staff just totally deviated from what their blueprint was the entire season, which is running the football. There's no way your running backs have 5 attempts all game. Maybe the first drive, but all game? Yeah, I don't put that on Lamar. There's no way he should have attempted 37 passes.
16 total rushes.
That's play calling.
The whole game.
Yeah, that's play calling.
That's like saying we ain't going to let Patrick Mahomes throw it. We're going to run it the whole time.
Chris, you
go ahead.
All right. So this is why, once again, ladies and gentlemen, context matters. Okay, what they did not tell you was last season and prior seasons too. All we have heard was Greg Roman has been terrible at calling the offensive plays for Lamar Jackson. All he does is run the ball. So now we're putting the ball into a 2-time MVP. I don't know any.
He's a 1-time MVP. He hadn't won the championship.
He's going to win. He's going to be the 2-time MVP. I don't know any 2-time MVP that has not won a Super Bowl or that has not been to a Super Bowl in NFL history. I'm gonna give you the list of 2-time MVPs: Steve Young, okay, Joe Montana, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. These are guys that are
pocket passers.
These are guys that are 2-time MVPs that have delivered, that have went to the Super Bowl, regardless of what was surrounding them. If they lacked the run game, if they lacked the pass game, they were called on to deliver when the time was when the expectations was through the roof. We put the ball in the MVP's hand. I'm expecting you to get it done. All he preached about Lamar Jackson was, hey man, to be a champion, you gotta be the champion. Well, he didn't deliver. So I digress. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, wait a minute, one second. Can you name those quarterbacks again?
Okay. Joe Montana.
Okay, hold on.
Steve
Joe
Young.
Montana.
Steve Young.
Under George Seifert.
Steve Young has some legs. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers was also mobile, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Brett Favre.
None of them were mobile.
John Elway.
None of their mobility. Now, Chris, you tell me if I'm right or wrong now, preaching or not. None of their mobility was as important to them as it is to Lamar.
I agree.
Correct. And Lamar didn't use it.
Thank you.
But Lamar can't call
didn't get the job done.
He don't call his own
offense.
offense either.
Did he choke, Chris?
No. He choked.
Thank
He
you.
never calls his own offense. That doesn't stop him from making plays.
Thank you.
Lamar Jackson was out there holding the ball, y'all. I'm just talking about just looking around, take off running like you typically do. But you know what? That brings me to my point. This is the Lamar Jackson we typically get in the playoffs.
Oh,
As he said, his record is 2-4.
Thank you.
In those games, he only had 6 touchdown passes. He had 6 interceptions, 59% completion rate. 72 rushes for 500 and some yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 fumbles, and a 76 rating. I'm going to tell y'all right now, everybody say, what's that old saying? To whom much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
Correct.
We keep saying, people was hating on Lamar Jackson. You know, he's a great quarterback, this, that. Get the job done. It wasn't going to take much.
It wasn't.
10 points? 10 points. If you want to give him the 17, go on and give him the 17. But all year, he has done much better than that. And to me, when he gets in the playoffs, this is the Lamar we've gotten. It isn't different from what we've gotten from years past. This is the same Lamar.
It's still a little different, Chris. If Zay Flowers don't fumble that ball, it is a different game.
Okay, what
I mean, come on there. You got to say the man is. This was his best year ever in the playoffs.
what is that?
That's
What
not
is
saying
that?
much.
Yeah, what does that get me?
What that's like talking about Josh Allen. You know how he ain't been able to get it done.
Oh, come on. All right, now
Let's go. Let's go back. You're not going to throw my boy under the
No,
bus.
because the key is if you don't get there, what you're saying is if you don't get there, you ain't got the job done.
The difference between Lamar and Josh Allen is Josh Allen don't turn the ball over in the playoffs.
That's facts.
He don't win.
He's a playmaker.
And he don't win.
If Lamar Jackson had played like Josh Allen, we wouldn't be having this discussion about Lamar.
But Josh Allen lost too.
We know why he lost. It ain't because of Josh Allen he lost. Let's talk about Diggs on a later date.
Exactly.
Dropping a 70-yard dime.
Oh, you mean like Flowers fumbling out the end zone?
Hey, real quick.
Or the kicker.
Yes or no? Is Lamar Jackson better than Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's no debate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow, y'all said that. Easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that
I'm
was-
wearing a Hurts jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fullback.
Quickly.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just last thing I promise. What D didn't mention also was that the Chiefs got shut out in the second half, and he could not go out there and score 17
Couldn't
points.
deliver.
That's all I had to say.
Who got shut out the second?
The Kansas City Chiefs got shut out in the
Chiefs
second
got
half,
shut out.
and Lamar Jackson couldn't go out there and
Couldn't
score
get it done.
17 points.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Sound like
Okay.
Josh Allen. Still.
Now,
Josh Allen didn't get it done either.
Now, the Chiefs did get shut out in the second half. You know, anyway, is Kansas City defense legit because they also shut out Baltimore?
Yes.
Their defense is legit.
Yeah. They're the real deal.
And I'm going to tell y'all, the recipe for those guys, speaking of Josh Allen, and I'm going to throw Joe Burrow, those are the teams that have given the Chiefs probably the best run in the playoff of this stretch right here. And those guys are like playmakers. So you got to be able to make plays on them. But this is the best version of Kansas City defense that we've seen. Because, you know, they were a liability a few years back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, if you want to look, it's the defense that kept Kansas City afloat this year.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
the offense was
Absolutely.
playing sketchy the beginning of the year. About mid-season,
Right, yeah.
you know, Pat, they had those loser streak. Patrick Mahomes on the sideline doing
Throwing a
something we don't
tantrum.
see Pat do, throwing helmets.
Against Josh
that
Allen.
Was that was Lamar Holmes right there, wasn't it?
Against Josh Allen and the Bills. Had him out there crying, him and his coach. But
Yeah.
But the reality of it is for me is that one of the biggest reasons for them is Spags also.
Yeah.
He is probably one of the best individual game planners on defense in the league. You got jokers like Chris Jones that come out there and make plays on that defensive line. Linebacker, I don't think Nick Bolton gets enough credit.
Absolutely.
Bolton is a beast.
Absolutely.
He's been a beast too.
Yeah.
And then you got Snead.
Snead. Let's talk about him.
Nobody's thrown a touchdown pass on him the entire season.
Yeah, that guy.
Very underrated.
I mean, it's like, but see, the shadow of Patrick Mahomes looms so large.
Yes.
Everybody talking about Patrick, and they're overlooking that defense.
Yeah, and I just want to. I'm sorry. I just want to piggyback on what D said. A lot of people don't understand that the DC for the Kansas City Chiefs was also a part of the team that, beat the undefeated Patriots. He was a part of that defensive coaching staff and everything as well.
And listen, their defense this year allowed 13.7 points per game, only allowed 113 rushing yards per game, allowing 1.7 touchdowns per game, and on third down conversions, only a completion percentage of 29.7%.
That wins some games.
That's tough.
That defense don't get talked about enough.
It doesn't.
One of the reasons why is what we're about to discuss now as we enter the Super Bowl preview. And it's crazy that this is my first question, but will we see Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl?
And
I don't want to.
On my answer on my sheet, I put, who cares? I'm tired of seeing Taylor Swift.
I don't want to see her.
Yeah,
I'm
she'll
tired
be
of
there.
seeing her.
She'll be there.
All right. So let's move on past Taylor. So if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, do you try and make Purdy beat you and shut the run game down and dare him to be a thrower? How do you schematically approach the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean the 49ers if you're the Chiefs.
Go back and look at the film from Baltimore. The Baltimore versus 49ers game.
That's good.
Now,
4 picks.
right.
They actually caught the picks he was throwing.
Yeah, they caught the picks.
Yeah.
They didn't drop them. For me, I think Baltimore kind of tricked him with the scheme that they were running. And that this lets me know Purdy is not that guy like people are trying to make him out to be. But let me say this. It's hard. It's going to be hard to stop the 49ers with all the guys you had because you try to stop the run, you can dump something off the Debo or throw a little screen and Debo can go 60 yards.
Which ain't nothing but a long pitch.
Right. That's a long pitch.
Because in reality, when you look at it, Purdy is the weakest link. We just talked about the best supporting cast in football. Purdy is the weakest link out of all of those.
Yes.
When you take Kittle, CMC, Debo, he's the weakest link out of all of them. So the key for me is putting pressure on Purdy to make him get rid of that ball faster than he wants to.
What you think, Josh?
All right, so with me, I'm going to take a little different approach. The keys for me, you got to take away Debo Samuel. I mean, I think that he is the most important thing when it comes to this 49ers offense. I mean, we saw when he left the game against, I think was it Green Bay? Yeah, you saw the whole offense changed when they lost Debo Samuel. Even if you go back to early in the season, when they lose Debo Samuel, everything changes. As good as Christian McCaffrey is, that running back position is very, very serviceable. They got Elijah Mitchell in the backfield. So if it was me and I'm at the DC for the Kansas City Chiefs, my game plan is let's take away Debo Samuel and let everything else worry about itself. I think if you cut him off, you have the best opportunity to win. You cannot let him get going because he impacts the game in so many different ways. And the last thing I'm gonna say, I think Debo Samuel against the Lions, you saw him. He made a first down, got active. Then they took 3 straight plays and gave it straight to him. So if you eliminate him, that's all you need to do.
He's their spark plug.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I'm going to disagree. I still think it's Christian McCaffrey. And that is one of the reasons why Debo can do what he does. Christian McCaffrey literally, I mean, like you said, running, catching, whatever, you have to pay attention to him because it's demoralizing to a defender when you are getting ran over. Yeah. It's different when now Debo can run you over too, but it's just different, when a running back is gashing you for 8, 10, 11, 12 yards, and then he can break a 50-yarder on you. Christian McCaffrey I think is what makes this engine go. He was the piece that's been missing for them. And once he got onto the 49ers, that's really what made the 49ers dangerous. We saw them with Debo and Ayuk before, but I think adding the element of Christian McCaffrey is really what makes those guys go.
Well, I agree with both of y'all. I agree that, to me, I think CMC is the biggest piece, but I think Debo is the heartbeat. So when Debo gets going, like Josh said, and he gets hyped, then it's like, oh, okay, cool. But CMC going to give you what he give you every single time, whether he's catching it or he's running it. He is a monster.
Yeah, neither one of them can get going if you hit Purdy in the mouth or nothing. I mean, you get him on his back or get him a little timid.
Yeah, he'll throw it in the dirt.
Yeah.
I seen him throw one game with his eyes closed.
Yeah,
and the key is going to be is that if these, because he's going to give them an opportunity because he's done it in every game.
Every game.
If these Kansas City Chiefs don't drop these picks that he hitting jokers in the hands with, Because Green Bay dropped 3 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not even talking about the 49ers.
Yeah.
If Green Bay don't drop them picks. That's just real.
Yeah,
That's true.
very true. So, flip side, if you're the 49ers, what in the world do you do to try to stop Patrick Mahomes? Do you blitz? Do you hope the receivers on their normal game and dropping passes? What do you do?
Well, I'll jump on this first. Never bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Ever.
Since Patrick Mahomes has become a full-time starter in 2018, he has 55 touchdown passes and only 6 interceptions against the blitz. Wow. He has a career passer rating of 116 when facing 5 or more rushers that come against him. And it drops to passer rating of 109 when it's 4 or less.
You talking?
Yeah. So Mahomes has one of the highest completion percentages in NFL history when extending plays with his legs. 118 completions when extending a play, 21 more than any other quarterback, 2,126 passing yards. Any other quarterback, the next close quarterback only got 1,600 yards, and 17 passing touchdowns, tied for the most in NFL when he's being blitzed.
I agree with you.
Blitz him at your own peril.
So how do you stop him? Do you just hope and pray that he make a mistake?
You better cover them receivers.
You got to zone them up and cover the receivers, even if you want to double.
Don't zone. Don't zone.
Let me take that back.
Because Travis Kelce going to find all them holes.
Look,
Everybody will, because he'll manipulate the defenders.
Let me say this, not zone them up, but you got to get your guys away from the line. Like, back them up. We got to put this umbrella out here. We don't want you to throw this ball, but the thing about Patrick Mahomes is when you keep blitzing him, he keeps extending plays, and he finds that gap. And as soon as you bite, he's either gonna throw it over you or he's gonna run. And he's
a little faster than he looks.
Right, he's almost unsackable. Like, I've literally seen guys have him, and it's like, oh, he's gone. Like, it's very difficult to get him on the ground. So I feel like you're wasting your time bringing extra defenders. Guard the guys that are out there trying to catch passes, please.
All right. So with me, if I was, the DC for the 49ers. You gotta run a variety of things. Do not zone. All right, that's the first thing. Do not zone Patrick Mahomes. He's the third best quarterback when it comes to zone. He's really one of the best quarterbacks when you try to zone him. I think in order to win this game for the 49ers, you gotta line up 5 guys on 5. You gotta allow Nick Bosa and Chase Young and Eric Armstead, those guys to win their one-on-one matchups. So if it's me, I'm sending extra pressure. I am double teaming Travis Kelce. No, you're not going to have this chess piece. And then I'm going to allow my corners just to play one-on-one. If Rashee Rice beats me in the Super Bowl, he deserves the MVP. And hey, I'm just going to live with that. Yeah, I can live with that. What I'm not going to allow you to do though is just zone and eat me up with Travis Kelce. You saw it in the first half of the game versus the Baltimore Ravens. He went for 10 for over 100 yards.
10 catches.
10 catches, 10 targets.
He ended up with 11 catches, 116 yards.
Ended up with 11. So that just goes to show you the difference between the first half and the second half adjustments. So I am running 5 up front. I'm going to allow my guys to be one-on-one against your linemen. Allow Nick Bosa to do what he does best. Chase Young, even though I ain't really messing with him. Eric Armstead, allow those guys to win their one-on-one matchups. Allow my back end to do what they do well. Fred Warner, we're going to line him up one-on-one with Travis Kelce with some outside shade with the safety. And then that's how you're going to win this game, ultimately. That's what I would do.
Now, this is what Travis did in the last game. We talked about 11 receptions, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. And he also broke Jerry Rice's NFL record for the most career receptions and tied Rice for the most career postseason games with at least 100 yards receiving.
That's tight end. It's a tight end.
Yeah, we doubling him off gate.
He's the only tight end in the NFL history.
As soon as he get off the bus, we double him.
He had 8,000-yard seasons.
Yeah.
The only tight end in NFL history.
Yeah. Great player, but he won't get the MVP on us.
No.
Baby shoes, though, man. I mean, Pacheco. I feel like the 49ers have great personnel on defense.
Yes.
You can move the ball on the 49ers, but, man, they hit, man. Like, they going to make you pay.
They thump.
Well, one thing that I don't know about them hitting this hard, but the Chiefs' defense, they flow to the ball, though.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They flow to the ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's really going to be a chess match.
Spaz got them playing. With that chess match in mind, Super Bowl predictions. I'll start with mine. Of course, I'm wearing Patty jersey. I just can't imagine rooting against him. Not rooting against him, betting against him or picking against him at this point in his career. Every time this season where we thought they were down, he's found a way and come back and done it. So I got the Chiefs, man. I think it's 27-17 Chiefs.
I'm also rocking with Kansas City. I think it's a little more than that. But I still got Kansas City winning by a slim margin. Kansas City 31, 49ers 28.
Go ahead, young buck.
All right, so you know me. I always got to be the
Rebellious.
outlier.
Against the grain.
Rebellious.
You see the jersey. Christian McCaffrey, baby. Carolina Panthers, 22. I'm going with the 49ers in this matchup, 27-20. Just for kind of everything that these gentlemen have talked about, I do believe that we are going to see some explosive. It's going to be offensive-minded, at least the first half, and then you're going to really see the defenses, kick it up a notch in the second half. And I do think, like Chris just mentioned, better personnel defensively, better defensive line, might be the best defensive line on an entire National Football League, maybe the best front seven in the entire National Football League. So those guys will get active. 49ers 27, Kansas City Chiefs 20.
I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Give me the Chiefs 24-20. I just think that at some point they're gonna need Purdy to make a play if they get down, and he's gonna make the play, the wrong play.
Okay.
I just got 24. Give me 24-20.
24-20.
Chiefs.
All right. So those are our Super Bowl predictions, and what we're going to do, we're going to end the session with a couple hot takes, all right? So we're going to hot potato this and try to wrap this up in the next few minutes. So off-season news, we got 4 things we're going to discuss. Does Justin Fields remain a Chicago Bear, or do they draft the young stunner out of USC and start over?
Quick hot take. Yeah, he remains the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. They would be dumb to trade him away. That's just me.
Man, boy, we vibing today, boy. I agree. I agree that Justin Fields stays. He has the goods. He's improved every single year.
Yeah.
And if the Bears place a line around him and give him some weapons to throw to, Justin Fields is going to be fine. We've watched him make flashes of plays with the trash team that he has around him.
Yeah.
I love Justin Fields. That's my guy. But the reason why I say he does not remain a Chicago Bear is he's doing an extension.
Thank you.
And once they start to pay a quarterback,
Yeah.
it affects the rest of the makeup of the team. So I think for the mere fact that they reset from the quarterback position with a Caleb Williams and get a chance to build around him and pay him pennies on the dollar that they would have to pay Justin Fields. Not even play. I think it's back office contracts why Justin Fields will not be a Chicago Bear next year.
That is exactly why I was going to say. That's exactly why I was going to say that. If you have to re-up a guy, you got to pay him more. And you got to, like he said, reset the clock.
But this is the only thing that gives me
Williams.
pause about that is that they extended their coach. Do you bring in this coach who ain't really been successful?
But that coach didn't draft Justin Fields.
Yeah, but he ain't been successful with him still.
Right,
My
which
point
is
is
why
that-
I think he goes in the other direction.
Well, my point is that I'm like, if I'm gonna bring in Caleb, I'm gonna bring in somebody else that I feel like that he could want or that
Mold
can
him.
get him where he want to go. Because my thing is that really I think that a lot of times the development of the quarterback has to do with the coaching staff that's around him, i.e. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick is special in some of the stuff that he does, but you ain't gonna tell me he does the same thing that he does with Andy Reid with the quarterback. I mean the coach from the Bears.
Yeah, no.
I think it's sort of a toss-up.
I agree. I think with that number 1 pick, and they have another, top 5?
They got a
Yeah.
top 5.
If they trade the number 1
top
pick,
10, I think.
they can reload.
But
They can.
This
Even without, they still got two top picks, right?
yeah, they got the number 1 pick and then I think a top 10 pick. But
you can get a ransom for that number 1 pick right now.
yeah, you could. That's why I say that they keep Justin Fields. I know that you're talking about, paying him, but they also have the franchise tag. So they could tag him twice and see what he does with the Marvin Harrison Jr., with another offensive lineman. Just tag him twice the next 2 years to see what he's really made of, and then that's when I think if you don't know what you got, then that's when you can move on.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another quarterback that didn't live up to expectations, Russell Wilson. Does he remain a Bronco? I've heard the Pittsburgh Steelers thrown around. What happens with Russ?
No, after that debacle at the end of the year where they try to sit him so he wouldn't get paid and stuff like that. I mean, I just think I don't think he's going to be there. And as a matter of fact, the coach that they have there now, Sean Payton, that's not Sean Payton's guy. So I think Sean Payton's going to be looking for his guy, and it's not Russell Wilson, unfortunately.
They don't even have a first-round pick, though, right?
No, I'm saying, I mean, he could trade, look for a vet, something. I don't think it's going to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Russell Wilson either, but I also think that Russell was unfairly treated unfairly
Absolutely.
this year.
Correct.
I agree.
Russell played actually pretty well this year. 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, QBR 98 in 15 games.
Yes, he played well.
I think Sean Payton quit on him publicly, which just further humiliates him inside that locker room. So I just don't feel like that. I feel like that Russell is foolish if he stays, because they've already publicly, if you keep him, the whole organization looks terrible.
Yeah.
So you got to get rid of him. And I think that I'm with you. I think that he could. I think that he would do well at a place like the Steelers because of a coach like Mike Tomlin, or another place I thought about. He might even do well at the Saints.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I didn't think.
Don't they got Derek Carr?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Man, they
look,
the cap
I'm like,
room, though. I hear you. I hear you.
But you can't pay Russell all this money. That's the problem with Russ and why I think he was humiliated publicly, because he's making too much money. He's not worth the money that they've given him.
They signed him to it.
And that ain't his fault.
Sean Payton didn't.
Yeah,
And
I
when
hear
you're looking
you.
at the
I hear
pieces that they have, you got to get other pieces. You can't put that much into that quarterback position.
All right,
What you
last two. Open coaching jobs. I know they just filled one today, right?
Yep.
got.
Mike.
Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Got the D coordinator from Baltimore.
They
Yeah.
did.
What do you guys what do you think about any more open coach? Bill Belichick didn't get a job.
Well, the Commanders is the only team right now that doesn't have a head coach. Okay. I mean, you know,
Didn't they want Detroit's offensive coordinator, but he decided to stay?
he decided to stay.
His
I don't blame him.
asking price was too much.
Really?
They said that he was
Was it
asking
Detroit or
$15 million a year.
$15 million a year.
$15 million a
Coach.
year.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that this is, one of those coaching cycles where you do not see Bill Belichick, at least in the head coaching spot. He's 72. He's 73. You just saw Nick Saban for Alabama Crimson Tide retire.
Roll
Pete
Tide.
Carroll.
Yeah, Pete
Carroll.
Carroll. He's out there free agency. doing
But Pete is supposedly going to do some
Yeah.
upper level stuff at the Seahawks.
Yeah, but
He
you
still
said,
wanna coach,
Yeah,
though, you can
he
tell.
still wants to coach.
Don't nobody want him.
No, so
Hot take.
Yeah,
Would you hire Bill Belichick to replace the D coordinator in Baltimore?
Would he want to be a DC though?
That's the ultimate question.
It's
Yeah.
not, I don't think somebody would hire him as a DC, but I don't think he would want to be a
yeah.
DC.
I think when because of his
His
status and his cachet, I don't know if I use.
I don't think nobody's giving him a head coaching job, man.
I don't
Yeah,
think so either.
I wouldn't either.
And I think his pride doesn't allow him to be a DC under anybody.
That's
And then the
that's
question
good.
is that you have is do you really want to bring one of the quote unquote goats of coaching
looking over your shoulder the entire
Right.
And the thing is, one of the reasons why is Bill Belichick himself is the reason why he doesn't have a job, and that's he doesn't draft well. I mean, people, when you're trying to rebuild a franchise like
just coaching, no GM work.
yeah, because him, he feels like he's the smartest man in the room. I don't need these guys. I can do it all. And we saw what that led to towards the end with the Patriots. And if you're
Right.
trying to rebuild, like the Falcons or somebody, if you were to able to get that job, which is already taken, but the Commanders, they need management. They just don't need somebody that just can go in and coach, because that's not going to help the Commanders.
That's what made me think about him. John Harbaugh, he's set, man. He's won a Super Bowl.
I called it. I told y'all Harbaugh while he was coaching. I feel like the Chargers was going to get him.
Yeah, actually,
Especially with all that mess going on.
I should have said Jim. My bad.
Right, Jim.
But no, I was saying that the Baltimore situation would be good for Bill Belichick if he truly wants to coach,
I got you.
because he has an established coach that wouldn't be worried about Belichick coming to take over.
Right.
He can run the defense, which everybody
That's
says
John
he's
Harbaugh's
the
culture.
best
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean that kind of goes back to you don't want somebody with that large of a resume,
shadow, right.
that large of a shadow overlooking you. Especially, if I'm coming to him and asking for advice, yo, Bill Belichick, what you trying to do right here? X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't do that. And it's like you're almost
But I don't
taking
see-
all of his advice because he has so many Super Bowls and so many playoff experience. So I don't see him. He might be done. I mean,
Or if it was just something like he disagreed with something that John was trying to do publicly, do you split the team?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
like, I mean, just because his shadow is so big, I don't know if you bring him in.
Yeah, I like winning, and I know Bill Belichick is a winner. If I'm somebody like Harbaugh, I find a way to get him on as a D coordinator if he's
Right.
willing to accept that. Last thing before we wrap up, we were talking about Harbaugh. He won it big in Michigan. What do the Chargers do? Do they challenge the Chiefs? Are they an instant playoff contender? Does he have the same level of success he had with the 49ers? How do you guys think the Chargers season will be?
The San Diego Chargers, and I've always said it, they have the talent.
Mm-hmm.
They have the talent. I know myself, D, we talked about them during the year as well.
Yeah.
The coaching, they couldn't finish games. And
Yeah.
if you look over the course of the last few seasons, that has been their biggest issue. They get down to the end of games and they can't win games. I think that's part of coaching. I felt like they brought in a lot of talent before last season. I don't know what contracts look like, so let me preface that statement. I don't know what contracts look like, and that can hinder teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like with the talent they have, you have a quarterback, you have running backs, you have wide receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense has talent all over. I mean, I feel like Harbaugh can do his thing. I think he can make something happen to sneak into the playoffs. I'm not going to just stamp it because it's a lot of good teams in the AFC. The AFC has a lot of good contenders for playoffs, so we're going to see.
Yeah, I think they do turn it around. I think that was the best fit for Harbaugh for the Chargers. They couldn't have asked for a better coach. The only other person I thought maybe could have done it was Pete Carroll, but I think Harbaugh is a better choice.
Yeah. I agree. I think Harbaugh's going to do well there. I don't think it's going to be anything instant. I think that it's going to take some time. And, I think me and Josh have had this conversation before on our chat when we talked about Justin Herbert, and I always thought Justin Herbert was trash. And the only reason why I said that was because he has the numbers, but his numbers don't translate to wins. And that's been my biggest draw on him, because he can put some numbers up, but it doesn't translate to wins. So maybe John Harbaugh comes in and helps to turn that around.
You see how he said that, but couldn't say that about his Lamar Jackson take? But that's neither here nor there.
Lamar ain't trash.
I think that
Any one of y'all will take Lamar.
Absolutely.
You should have took him in Carolina.
That's another. I think Harbaugh is the guy, but they have a lot of issues when it comes to salary cap. Keenan Allen is due like $30 million this year.
He's due up.
Mike Williams is due like 30 this year. Khalil Mack is due like 30 this year.
Yes.
Something. I think Mike might be due 27, but I do know for certain Keenan is due 30 and Khalil Mack is due 30. So that is going to be a situation where we know Keenan Allen is a guy, but you might either have to get him to reconstruct his contract, or you might have to move off from him. Same with Khalil Mack. He's still a phenomenal pass rusher, first ballot Hall of Famer, but the salary cap is just too much. And I think you over there looking it up. You can tell me what the salary cap here. I'm not too sure.
I got
No,
you,
but
man.
I do agree. I do think that you're right. I think Keenan is due up. I think this is his re-up year.
Yeah, they $27.5 million over the cap right now.
Yeah, so
but they got some challenges. That's why I say I don't think he's going to do it in the beginning, because he's going to have to build this.
Yeah.
William is due $17 million next year. Bosa is owed $32 million over the final 2 years. And then
You talking about wide receiver, Williams?
Yeah.
He can go. He always hurt.
they
Yeah.
talking about cutting him, but to save them $20 million in 2024.
Yeah, and then I mean, you think
Williams
about
might
it.
be gone. He
Yeah,
just had an ACL, right?
Yeah,
and
he
I
just tore his
keep,
ACL.
I keep Keenan before I keep him.
Absolutely.
Even though Keenan's older.
Yeah.
And then, I know that it should be James might be geared to come up pretty soon. Derwin James.
One of the things, too, Harbaugh, again, he's coming from college where he's been watching a lot of players. So he's a great
Talent
yeah, a
evaluator.
talent
That's
evaluator.
good.
So he'll be able to get some young bucks in
Yeah.
that'll fill those roles and not cost as much.
Correct.
Yep. Well, that ends it for EFSN and our Super Bowl preview show. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, be sure to come and join us on February 11th in the Power Play Center, 5 p.m. Fun for the family. Hope to have you guys there. On behalf of myself, Chris, D, and Josh, EFSN, see you on the next one.